So as the channel has been growing, I've been getting more and more questions. And of course, I'm pretty busy, but you guys know, if you've been with me for a while, I like to respond to all questions. So just to kind of speed up the process, I'm going to be answering questions in today's video. I got my coffee, I got the questions, so let's do it. Welcome back to the Atreyu Locs channel. Hi, I'm Atreyu, a semi-freeformer who is dedicated to bringing you guys the best tips to grow a healthy set of locks. If this is your first time, make yourself comfortable. I am glad to have you. So let's just get right into answering these questions. The first question comes from Christy Graggs. She writes, "My locks have gotten palm rolled twice. Is it okay for me to stop it to make them look skinny and tight?" And yeah, the answer is yes. You can stop palm rolling at any point. Remember, you guys, palm rolling is not the same thing as retwisting. Although many people use those two terms interchangeably, they're very different. I can palm roll my locks without retwisting them, and I can retwist them without palm rolling them. Palm rolling is what you're doing to the length of the lock, right? It helps to make them cylindrical. It helps to keep them kind of tight. It helps to reduce frizz and things like that. It helps to make your locks look more uniform if you palm roll all of your locks, okay? Retwisting is just gathering the new growth at your roots and incorporating that hair nice and neatly in this coiled, twisted fashion into the lock. So yes, you can stop palm rolling if you want a slightly thicker look. One, it's gonna look thicker because you're gonna probably have more frizz, right? So it's gonna make your locks look a bit wider. But then two, because you're not doing that motion and making your locks compact, it'll be a little bit thicker as well. The next question comes from Tamara Cruci. Hope I pronounced that correctly. She says, "I started with manicured locks, but stopped interlocking about she says hours, but meant years ago. Will be 3 years in March. I don't retwist, but I do separate. Am I still considered semi-freeform?" And I say emphatically, yes, you are definitely still considered semi-freeform. In fact, you are like the definition of semi-freeform, right? You don't retwist, you stopped interlocking, and even if you did those things, if you didn't do them often, you would still be semi-freeform. But the fact that you only separate, yeah, you're definitely semi-freeform. There would be some freeformers out there who would actually consider you freeform because you don't interlocking, you don't even retwist, all you do is separate. Now I know that there is this whole big debate about who is actually a true pure semi-freeformer versus a freeformer, right? Some freeformers think that you got to start from scratch and you don't do jack to your locks and you don't even separate, and those are the true freeformers. But there are other people who consider themselves freeformers who do separate. And you know, this reminds me, earlier in my lock journey, there used to be a guy named, I think his name was Prince Chin Miguel. He was a locker, he had a YouTube channel, dope channel. But he was a freeformer and he would separate. For the longest time he stopped, or he tried to resist the temptation to separate. But as many of you probably know, sometimes when the hairs are getting tangled with one another, it can cause tension on the scalp. And so in certain sections of his scalp, it was really painful because hairs were pulling, you know, connecting over here to that lock over there. So he started to separate just to relieve that pain, but he definitely still considered himself a freeformer. So I say all of that to say that yes, you are definitely a semi-freeformer. You are the definition of a semi-freeformer. So kudos to you. Okay, the next question comes from Pop-Off Chris. He writes, "It's been 5 months and my dreads still haven't fully budded across the whole dread yet, only like the root or the middle." And let me just stop there and say that's perfectly normal. I don't even remember exactly when my locks were, you know, fully uniformly like budded, like actually looked like locks. It was definitely after the 5-month mark though. So no worry about that. You're perfectly on track Pop Off Chris. Then he says, can I get them 2-strand twisted my next retwist, or do I have to wait till the budding fully finishes? So there are a lot of lockers who believe that you interrupt the locking process by getting styles like 2-strand twists or other more elaborate styles. But there are many lockers who, get those styles and their locks are fine. So I say it's okay. Just make sure it's not too tight, because you don't want to cause indentations in your locks where it hasn't budded yet, and it may take even longer for it to bud. So yeah, just be careful, tread carefully, but I say it's okay. And I didn't get styles. I just want to put that out there. I didn't get any 2-strand twists. You guys knew I didn't 2-strand twist until like about a year or two ago. For the first time, I had never gotten any styles, and that was the only one. So if it were me, I probably would wait, but I'm also not into styles. So I say it's okay. Just make sure it's not too tight and you don't leave it in for too long. All right, and then Pop Off Chris says, last thing, bro, is it normal for some dreads to be thicker than others while budding? Like, will they all even out to the same size when budding is done? And I say that not necessarily. It depends on the density, the different densities in your hair, how many strands are making up a lock, basically. So if whoever started your parts, was amazing and had this incredible foresight, and they could, establish the absolute perfect lock to part ratios to make all of your locks congruent, then maybe, but I really doubt that that will be the case. I will say that your locks will look more uniform when all of them have fully budded, but they may be different sizes. Like when my mom started my locks with comb coils, her parts were pretty even, right? But I have locks of all different sizes. So it kind of just depends on the density of the hair, and that's not necessarily something that you can easily see with the naked eye, right? Because strands are so small. So however your locks turn out, just accept them for how they are. Love them. I'm sure they're gonna be dope. All right, the last question that I'm gonna answer in today's video, don't worry, I'll make more videos like this, comes from Almond Aesthetic. That's a cool name. And this was in response to my how to fix flat dreadlocks with just water video. So the comment says, thank you for this. Does this method work on the tips and down the shaft of the locks as well? That's where my flatness is. And so the thing about that is that down the length of your locks, this is the oldest part of the lock, right? As a result, it's the most mature. And as a result, it is the most compact. So I think if you add enough water, and if it really saturates the lock and you palm roll, I think that it will help. Honestly, I've never tried it because none of my locks are flat down here. Like I usually, if it's flat and if I want to change it, then I catch it somewhere up here where it's not as mature and it's more malleable, if you will. But I'm inclined to believe that it can become cylindrical. You can undo that flatness, if you will, if you add enough water, because when you add the water, then that allows the hairs to kind of loosen and you can kind of form them the way you want. So you can form them from being flat to being more round. And when I say the hair, the groupings of hair, right? That matted hair. So I'm gonna say yes, I've never had to do it, but in theory, you should be able to. Okay, just make sure the lock is saturated. And then in the future, if you don't want flat locks, then try to catch them, somewhere up here. Try to catch them earlier so you don't have to have as tough of a time trying to transform, that flat lock into a round lock. All right, so hopefully I have answered your questions to your satisfaction. If you have more, definitely leave them in the comment section. And as I said, I will make another video and probably just more videos in general answering questions since I'm getting so many these days. I used to have this series called Ask Atreyu. Maybe that's what I will call this and bring it back. Also, I know some of you, and I'm not bragging, but I know some of you are gonna love this hat and you're gonna be like, where'd you get your hat? I didn't get it from anywhere, I made it. What, you made it? And then your next question will be, how much do you charge for them? I'm not in a business, right? I don't sell them. I don't have time to, make hats and Tims as a business. But I do have another channel, Atreyu Crochet, where I show you guys how to make hats and tams and scarves and different things. I have a tutorial for this hat in particular as well, and even these kind of drawstrings, I just kind of pulled them forward and tucked them under, if you're wondering, you know, what that is. But yeah, I have tutorials on that channel, so if you guys, you know, really want to learn how to make your own tams, save some money, that's the point of that channel. You know, I want to show lockers how to make their own stuff so they don't have to buy them overpriced, and you can be more creative and really design what you want. You can check out that channel and those videos, and you can make a hat like this, and this can be worn like a good 5 or 6 different ways. Today I'm kind of just wearing it as like a crown. So yeah, check out the Atreyu Crochet channel. That's my other channel. If you choose to love, do so unconditionally, because loving with conditions conditions the heart to not really love at all. This is Atreyu Locs, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.